Development Podcast. I'm Nick Weymouth, your host. This time around we're delving into the world of We Will Rock You. This interview was recorded just prior to the closure of the show after 12 years, and I had the opportunity to speak to Peter Gibbon Hansen, the General Manager of the Dominion Theatre, and the cast and crew and everything else that goes on down there. We talk about working with Brian May, Roger Taylor of course, Robert De Niro, Ben Elton. There's some funny stories in there. We get down to it and we get to that all-important conversation about cake. Hope you enjoy it. Peter, we salute you. Nick Weymouth sitting here with Peter Gibbon Hansen.
Morning.
All-round good guy, General Manager of We Will Rock You London.
Yeah.
So no mucking around. You are the General Manager of We Will Rock You.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What's your connection to the Queen team?
Well, let me give a background first. I originally started as the company manager on the show, which basically is there every night of the week, looking after the cast, looking after all their needs, looking after the petty cash, looking after the salaries and everything like that. 6 years down the line, the management very kindly approached me to take over as general manager,
right,
which basically covers everything from budgeting, marketing, just a general oversight of everything that goes on and report that back to the producers.
So you're like a father, brother, accountant, marketeer,
kind of good cop, bad
troubleshooter.
Cop. Yeah, bad cop I have to be a lot of the time because I'm the one who's got to make the tough decisions when people, want to spend money and stuff like that.
Right.
When we've got HR issues, because I have to look after all of those things, health and safety issues, I have to oversee all of that. And there's a lot of things to look after. There's 150 people on the payroll.
150.
At our
wow.
busiest time of the year. When we come to do a cast change, obviously we've got people going and people joining, so we have 150. Okay. We have depths for follow spots, for musicians, for stage crew, for wardrobe, for wigs. So there's a lot of people come and go. It's very transient in that respect, and a lot of it.
Are you sort of the first person they meet when they step in the door for their first day sort of thing? Is that how it works?
No, a lot of the staff are employed by their individual heads of department.
Right.
So they're actually employed by them and interviewed by them. They normally drop me a note saying, we're looking for such and such. This is who we've decided on. Are you happy? And I just go, yes, as long as you're happy with the decision, blah, blah, blah. So, I kind of try and do some checks in case they're known or whatever, but, invariably I leave most of that to the heads of departments to run. When it comes to the casting for the show, that's a different kettle of fish.
Sure, yeah.
Because we have a resident director, resident choreographer, resident musical director. We use a casting director who brings everybody in for those things, and that's a very formal process.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So
you're the man in the middle of everything.
Kind of, yeah. I'm overseeing, just making sure everybody's doing what they should be doing at the right time to make it all happen at the right time, effectively.
Where did it all start for you in sense of being a general manager working in the theatre? What's your background?
Working in the theatre, I started at the age of 16. I originate from the northeast in Middlesbrough. I worked at my local theatre from the age of 16.
No acting aspirations then?
I once went on stage in a production of West Side Story.
Oh right, who'd you play?
I was one of the sharks, bizarrely with blonde hair. It wasn't right. The thing is, I was tall, I could play basketball, and I could do the whistle at the top of the show. So I did all of those things and scored a basket every night. Yeah. I was part of the gang, so only ever that once. But it was a great thing to do. What I've always wanted to do is get a very broad spectrum of everything to do with theatre. So doing that performance gave me that understanding of what actors go through to get to what they achieve on stage. Yeah. And when I formally did a training at the grand old age of 28, I went to Mountain View Theatre School, and they gave us acting lessons every Friday afternoon. And I really enjoyed them. I had no aspiration to become an actor whatsoever. But it made you understand what an actor went through. And, a lot of actors have got reputations of being temperamental, and I've worked with hundreds of temperamental actors. But you kind of understand where it comes from and the place they have to put themselves in in these false emotions.
Right.
So it kind of mixes you all up.
So you had a good grounding in that sense.
So very good ground. And Middlesbrough was fantastic because I could be on the stage crew, I could build the set, I could do the flying, I could do the lighting, I could do the sound, I could do all those things. And over 12 years doing it semi-professionally, I kind of learned my craft.
Okay.
So then went to theatre school to get the formal training, which kind of crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and 25 years later, almost, here I am.
So when did Queen enter your life? What were you doing when suddenly someone said, "Oh, there's Queen are doing something"? Or
Well, I think it was in the September before the show started. My good friend Pippa Alien, who's our casting director, said, "Oh, Queen are doing a show.
Right.
Is that something you might be interested in?" Because she very kindly, put me forward for various bits and bobs. And I said, "Oh, that sounds brilliant." Because I've always loved Queen, always been a fan.
Yeah.
I've still got my 7-inch of Bohemian Rhapsody and my 12-inch of Invisible
It helps,
Man.
doesn't it? Yeah,
These things help. So, I had a good knowledge of their music before coming into it. And I went for an interview, and it was between me and one other guy, and I was lucky enough to get the job.
Did you come in a Queen t-shirt or something like that?
No, not at all. Totally not at all. No, the guy who interviewed me, very lovely northern guy, who was basically doing all the managing of it before I took over 6 years later. So
that's one of my questions further on down the line. Is are you a Queen fan? Were you a Queen fan? Obviously, you said you were.
Totally.
So
yeah, no, absolutely. Bohemian Rhapsody. It was all the hits, really. I'll be honest. I think I bought their first album, then Queen's Greatest Hits. I've probably got about 6 or 7 albums.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah.
And still got them.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Can't play them because I've got to play it, but
Oh, still on vinyl, yeah, absolutely. No,
but then I've got everything now on CD, so...
Of course, exactly. The perks of the job, I guess, aren't they? Yeah, indeed.
I think I've got them in English, Spanish...
Yeah, haven't we all? Yeah, exactly. No, but I guess if you're into something, without being too much of a fan, it surely helps, and the passion's there, and you really want to do the job. So.
Totally, and what's hard, particularly in this job, working with Brian and Roger, was that you are a fan, and that's hard. Was hard sometimes in the early days because you kind of think, oh my god, that's Brian May, that's Roger.
I've got to say no.
You've got to rein that in, and get on a professional level with them, and then But 12 years down the line, we're all friends. It's all very different now.
So going back to your role as general manager, I take it there is no. Well, there might be structure to your day. I don't know. Is there a typical day? There's certain things you have to go through every day? Or?
No, not really. There's certain things, weekly marketing meetings, weekly salaries that have to be overseen and looked after. Just reams and reams of emails every single day of the week. Budgetary issues. I'm very hands-on at the theatre, so there's constant looking at the health and safety, the HR issues that come up. General maintenance of the set as well, with equipment that's now 12 years old, you're constantly having to maintain all those things. So you constantly got to look at the budgets for everything and watch how everything's maintained.
We are talking just before the end of the show, as it were, but I'll go back 12 years. Do you remember the premiere? Do you remember what going on and the day? I mean, I do.
Absolutely.
I've got my memories.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember the entire rehearsal period. One of the most bizarre days. Seeing Jim Beach and Robert De Niro walking through southeast London housing estates to our rehearsal rooms.
I went to one of the real early walkthroughs. I thought exactly the same thing. We all went. There was the launch, and then we all went to some random place. Where was it? I can't remember. I went to some walkthrough, and there's Robert De Niro just sat at a rickety old desk.
Yeah, it was a place called Oldford House in South East.
Yeah, I think I did go. Yes, that's right. And I went,
that's it.
This is not the place for Hollywood royalty.
Oh, absolutely. But that's where people do these things.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if we're allowed to mention it, so you can chop this out, but we recently did a workshop for the second show.
Well, I think it's out there. I think there's pictures and whatnot,
So,
I think you're in one of the pictures, to be honest.
I probably am, But, we did that in a little rehearsal room in a converted town hall up in North London. Yeah. So, that's where you rehearse these things. Right. It's just a space that's big enough to mark out what's going to happen in the show.
Yeah.
And you spend 5 weeks walking around pieces of tape trying to believe you're walking through a door.
Yes.
Or coming up to a trap door and all those things. But then, that process, once you move out of that and get into doing the technical at the theatre, we did 5 weeks solid to basically map out and do all the technical aspects of 2.5 hours worth of theatre. And it takes you like almost half an hour a week just to plot those things for where everybody's going to be at what time and what place, where the stage crew are going to be and what they've got to do at that place when the flying stuff moves, and there are so many technical aspects in this show.
Yeah.
It's immense. There's one cue in the show called the It's a Kind of Magic cue, and literally the DSM, the deputy stage manager, who what we calls the show, basically gives all the cues. There are so many people involved in that one cue, she literally just calls it the It's a Kind of Magic cue, go.
Right.
Whereas other cues might be called LXQ 108.
Right,
go.
It's got its own name, its own culture.
Its own 3, go. Video, whereas this one is just such a massive cue.
Was it a nervy night or exciting? It was exciting.
The opening night was just manic for everybody involved, from all the management and everybody here. It's just immense. The things you've got to remember, that just doing the plan the weeks before. I remember seeing it in the office. There was a massive, like 8 foot by 4 foot plan of the seating, and working out who's going to sit where.
Yes.
To make sure that everybody was in the right place.
Because you've got the show to worry about in a sense, or not worry about. You're confident about it, but then it's all this other, nonsense almost. Not nonsense.
Reams of flowers being delivered at stage door. You've got to make sure they get up to all the right dressing rooms. Everybody's got the right tickets for that night and the passes for the party. There's just so much.
Well, I mean, I'd done my job. We'd done the website at the time, and then there's nothing else I could do.
Yeah,
nothing else.
That's it.
So we just went down there. 3 or 4 of us went down there, and I mean, I remember the party. The party was amazing. Yeah. I remember dancing with. I had Elaine Page on one arm, and I had Leslie Joseph on the other one.
Brilliant.
Dancing to Start Me Up on the Stones. and they were, what are you doing? And they said, I said, oh, I've got a couple of ladies with me. They're like, come back later. I was like, oh, maybe ladies, maybe. Got a drink. It's fun. It's great. Really great party.
It was extraordinary. I was so exhausted. I mean, even that was a bit of a nightmare. People got the wrong wristbands. So I ended up going to the Astoria where we had the party and stood at the door telling the bouncers who can come in through my door to make sure that all the cast got in first. Because obviously they finished, they all went off and got changed. And then it was so mobbed outside that they couldn't get in. So I spent the first 45 minutes of the party just getting people through the doors.
Do you remember the idea that we had to have a red carpet run through through the subway, wasn't it, to come out the other side? It didn't happen in the end, but because I came and looked and went, oh no, it's stopping there.
We've had many of these plans down here.
Sure. Obviously, after the premiere, and everyone had a great time. But in the weeks following that, we obviously had a few marketing meetings or sat there because the reviews weren't what
absolutely
we would have liked.
Absolutely.
Just being on the periphery, it was kind of tough. But if you're right in the middle, like yourself or the other guys, it must have been. Because Queen never got critics on their side anyway.
The following day, Brian and Roger came down and we had a company meeting late in the afternoon. They'd obviously had their big management meeting with all the producers, and they came back in and said, of course we should have warned you all that we never actually had great press. We never ever got great press. So we should have thought of that beforehand and kind of warned you guys that you may come out the following day with lots of negativity. And of course I was involved with all the management stuff at that side. I was more involved in the building, kind of placating everybody, saying it'll all be fine, it's a great show. The audience absolutely loved it, and more importantly, the following night's audience, as long as they enjoy it, then you've broken it.
Right.
Because they're the people that matter.
They're the ones who are paying. And
they're the ones who are paying. If they
so.
Enjoy it, they're the ones that will tell their pals who will come back, and bring new people in to come and see it. So no matter what you do press-wise, everything like that, word of mouth is, the best thing that will bring your audience in. So.
No, I mean, I think it was like I said, going back, the Queen never had the critics, and they just won people over with great songs, entertainment, what they did, and the show is reflective of what they are.
Reflects it, absolutely.
It's and 12 years later, I mean, Queen are now a little bit more lauded in the press. People have actually come around to their brilliance, as it were. I think they're still fun to be had with the band, but it's
No, it is extraordinary. I mean, 40 years, and considering that for 22 of those years, Freddie's not been with us. So
No, I mean we've all been in jobs this long.
Yeah.
It's a rolling machine.
Yeah.
Keeps giving and keeps going, regardless of whether it's Brian doing something or Roger or the band or musicals or Queen Extravaganzas or films or they have to find
and
these.
just keeping that music accessible to everybody. Young and old. That's the amazing thing. I've got 2 sons. When I started this job, my youngest son Roman was 1. He's now 13, so he'd never known me do any other job than this, which is kind of strange. Yeah. And my eldest son George, he was 4 or 5, so he vaguely remembers going to see a pantomime that I worked on before I did We'll Rock You, and then suddenly I'm doing this forever. So.
And you touched on it a bit earlier on, but what's it like working with, say, Brian? What does Brian bring to the
amazing professionalism, amazing passion. Everybody cares about this product. That's the biggest ethos that I've always tried to push with everybody, is caring about what we're doing, what we're putting on that stage every single night. I've got a brilliant team who look after all of that, day to day in the theatre. And Brian and Roger, have passed that on to us. And, whenever they visit, everybody's mood changes. It gives them a real, push. It really brings their spirits up if things have been quiet and stuff like that. And just having their input throughout the entire process. And unlike a lot of other shows that I've done, it's rare to see musical supervisors in the building year to year. Brian and Roger are in once or twice a year, Ben's in once or twice a year, giving notes, changing the script to keep it fresh. So it's a fantastic thing, and I think that has kept this show so fresh all the way through. Their professionalism and their passion for it.
Yeah, I was going to move on to, obviously you had the Queen guys come and do the music stuff. I mean, but what's Ben like to work with? I met him briefly a couple of times, and he's just
brilliant. Again, you've never met somebody with such amazing enthusiasm.
He just buzzes, doesn't he?
Just constantly, and you get that vibe off him. And encouraging. He just totally encourages people, and he's great directing them as well, because obviously he wants to see what he envisages on stage. So passing that over to them, he's just fantastic at doing it. It's just a natural talent that he has to do that, and not many directors have that. They can see what they want and find it hard sometimes to get the person to portray it. Ben's very grounded and very forthright with what he wants. So
So we have Queen with the music, we have Ben Elton with the comedy and his directing, all that sort of thing. I know he's not hands-on day to day, but obviously we also have Mr. Robert De Niro, don't we?
Totally.
As part of this.
Yeah. But just having his name there is fantastic.
It's a thrill, isn't it?
And the fact that he turned up for the 10th anniversary, he had a brilliant evening. I mean, the opening night was just amazing that he was there. And he came backstage straight away and said he wanted to have photos with everybody backstage.
See, that makes such a difference. You think it'd be the other way round?
Oh, totally. But no, I mean, everybody did.
Sure, of course. No problem.
And I remember Phil McIntyre walking into my office saying, Peter, Bob wants to come and have photos with everybody.
Bob is known. It is Bob,
I know. So we put a call out to everybody, and they're all in various states of undress and everything, but they all just flung on what they had, and we've got them down to stage. And he did loads and loads of pictures for us all, and he just seemed to really, really enjoy it. And when he came back for the 10th anniversary again, he was so enthusing about it. His wife Grace was there, who just absolutely loved it, and they had a fabulous evening. They really enjoyed themselves. So.
It is. The names attached to it are great anyway. But
I mean,
it's not a guarantee, is it, of success in the West End?
Absolutely. But they had, they're producers, and they I have a monthly producers meeting with Jim and Phil and our accountant and manager Peter Chant, and we discuss all matters We Will Rock You, and all the minutes from those meetings get passed to everybody, to Brian, Ben, Roger and Robert and his partner Jane, so they see what's going on. So they have influence all the time. They discuss these things as well. So.
Well, we are talking prior to the last show on the 31st of May. I suppose it'll be quite an emotional night for
it's going to be
all concerned.
I'll probably be in tears. There's so many people. We worked out the other day, there's probably in the region of 350 different members of cast that we've had through the doors.
Right, okay.
Over 12 years. I've got a list somewhere that tells you we've had 7 Scaramouches, 7 Galileos, 4 Killer Queens, 5 Meatloafs, 5 Britneys. So there's all those people that have been and gone, and lots been back.
Yeah.
Rachel Wooding, who's currently playing Scaramouche, originally was Meatloaf,
right?
But
okay.
she also understudied Scaramouche as well. So she'd already been here and come back, and we have people like Maz Murray, who played Killer Queen for 7 years.
Yes.
Hannah, our original Scaramouche, played Scaramouche for 4.5 years. And our longest serving Galileo was actually Peter Hansen, who's Swedish, who played Galileo for 4.5 years.
I was going to say, I'm sure you can't really. Well, you might do. I don't know. Do you have a favourite cast, or were there a few people that have really maybe not cast, but there are a few people that really stood out?
It's difficult because I don't
bet
want to
it
be
is.
biased towards anybody.
Of course not.
Tony Vincent was the most amazing Galileo, but since then, Ollie, who's playing it now, is just phenomenal. He's the tallest Galileo we've had,
right?
And I don't know if that's right for the role. We had Mig Ayasa, who encompasses everything. He started as a member of our ensemble. He was an understudy for Galileo. He was also an understudy for Pop, which is such a diverse
So he's
role.
had everything in his canon to just
he
to
really
do it.
was. It really is a versatile performer, a brilliant Galileo, and has done it in London, has done it overseas, and in actual fact was Galileo in our workshop that we did for the second show.
No, I saw the picture actually. Yeah, I did mention. Yeah. So I'm sure there's been many highlights. Is there anything that sticks out? I mean, are there any funny things that or crazy nights we've gone?
Crazy things that have happened. I mean, even from the original rehearsals, one of the members of cast asking me if she can bring a hamster into work with her because it was sick and she couldn't get anybody else to look after it. Bonkers things like that. People ringing up, I'm feeling really sick today, blah blah, and we make a phone call to them. Suddenly we get an overseas dialing tone.
Ooh. It's just like school, isn't it?
It's worse than, I tell you. Sickness, injury, all those things. It's interesting stories there.
Yeah.
The biggest highlight for me was Party at the Palace. Has to have been where the cast performed with Queen live on stage for the Jubilee.
Queen pretty much owned that whole show, didn't they? Just by having the drum riser just saying Queen all the way through it.
That's what Jim is just, brilliant at. Product placement. Having that drum kit there all the way through was just phenomenal. And, we went on, we performed. There was a lot of to do about this. BBC didn't want the cast there.
Right.
They didn't want them to be part of Queen. It's Queen.
Yeah,
they didn't quite see this. And they were a bit snooty about it all, I have to say. And they were a bit naff with us backstage. They wouldn't like us go into all the reception areas and stuff like that. But come the end of the night, we kept the cast there all night long to sit and watch it because we were the only musical that performed on the actual thing. And at the end of the night, Jim said to me, right, let's get the cast onto stage for the finale.
Yeah.
So we did. So he and I just slipped round. He took 10 people one side, I took a dozen round the other side, and we got them onto stage. So on the final lineup, we had Galileo and Scaramouche right in the middle of the stage.
Yeah.
And
that's the picture.
Amazing. And at the end of the night, I'm stood on one of the speakers on stage with Jim Beach, Queen's manager, stood next to me going, this doesn't happen every day, does it, Peter? I went, no.
You don't see this every day, do you?
It's
No.
just amazing.
Brilliant.
Feeling, really.
So it is no secret. I mean, there's pictures out there, and I think Brian's talked about it, and that there is this much mooted sequel.
The Seek,
the Seek, right? Okay. Because there was talk of it being written quite a while ago, or ideas had been around for a while.
To my knowledge, I think Ben wrote it about 7 years ago.
Right.
He decided to put together a treatment, and that was the basis for it all. And I never kind of asked him what it was about.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to find out if and ever it happened to just listen to the read-through.
Yeah.
Which is what we did. I got sent a copy of the script. I didn't read it until we sat down. I just wanted to come off the page to hear it. And it was
We don't have to go too far into it, but
it was
know
just
it's there.
so funny.
Yeah.
So funny. 22 different songs.
That's when you've got those in your back pocket straight
When
away.
you've got 24 in this, where do you find 22 more for God's? And there's more.
We
and
know,
there's
yeah.
more that I'd love to be in there. Favourites of mine that
you know. That's not half the show, but the show wise it is. I guess you've got the music.
Oh, absolutely.
Straight away. So
absolutely. And Ben said a silly story. He said, and blatantly said, "Oh, here's another way to shoehorn in another Queen song," and it was hilarious program. But it's going to be brilliant. It's going to happen.
Going back to the reason why it's so successful is that because for a long time this was the only place you could see Queen music played live to that quality. I mean, obviously you had tribute bands, and the band went out and did bits and bobs, but that's probably why. It's live music by a band rocking out in the eaves.
That's the big thing about it, is the quality is constantly maintained. 9 fantastic musicians and hand-picked performers. We have the breakdown of our cast is the principals. Then we have 20 ensemble, 10 dancers who can sing, and 10 singers who can dance.
Right.
So you've got a pick of voices there to create what we have out there every night, and it is phenomenal. It's constantly maintained, constantly noted, constantly rehearsed. So people have to be on their game. And people walk out of this building who've been in the cast before saying they've worked very hard, but they've learned a lot of new stuff from this show. And because it's rock and roll, it's a very different kind of sing for them compared to your everyday West End musicals as well. So what is the dismantling of a show like this? I don't know what is involved. Huge.
I don't want to end on a sad note.
No.
Kind of.
12 years worth of paperwork to pack up. Currently 110 employees got to go and find themselves new jobs. A lot of them have already found work, which is brilliant. 31st of May, we finished that night. We're going to have a big party. The following day, they have a resident church in on a Sunday at the Dominion.
Yes, they do.
And then on Monday morning at 8 a.m, we've got a crew of about 50 people coming in, and they're going to strip it all apart.
Right.
A lot of it will go to landfill, unfortunately, because it's just so old.
Yeah.
A complete set of the costumes and wigs will be put into storage. The sound equipment goes back to the hirers. The lighting goes back to the hirers. Our video kit goes into storage. Unfortunately, our video screens are so old now; they're so out of date and very difficult to maintain. They're going to be skipped.
Right.
So just a lot of vans, a lot of scrap metal, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for a fortnight afterwards, just to physically get everything out of the building. So.
And the Dominion itself, well, it sounds like it's having this refit.
They're doing complete refit, redecoration of the auditorium, redoing lots of backstage areas, so that when the next big show comes in, they're much more geared up for it. But I think it'll be brilliant what they've got planned, and I think they've got a couple of shows in line running up to Christmas, and then next year they still haven't got a show signed for the new year, so we'll just have to wait and see. There's been talk of various shows, Back to the Future.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Back to the Future.
I grew up on that. I grew up on that film. I could do the whole script.
Absolutely,
love it.
Well, I think that'd be a good one. I don't know if it's coming in here.
Yeah.
Motown's been talked about.
But isn't the rule of thumb I was sort of told was you come to the Dominion, which is the biggest, am I right saying the biggest theatre in the West End, is it?
Fourth largest.
Well, you come here.
In regards to seating, it's the fourth largest.
Right, you come here and you sit here for 2 years, and then you go to a smaller. Is that, I don't know how to.
No,
because we sat here for 12. So
yeah. No, I mean, so some shows just stay put. I mean, Wicked stayed put. Billy Elliot stayed put. Lion King stayed put.
Right, I see. Okay.
But occasionally, some shows. I mean, Jersey Boys just transferred. Mamma Mia's transferred a couple of times. Just with age, your audience wanes, and ours has waned over the past year, which is why the guys took the decision to close. And I think they've taken a brave decision not to downsize it, because you've got to downsize the entire production, and that you've got to wait a certain amount of time to reopen. You can't just move this show to another theatre immediately. You have to wait a certain time before you can reduce your staff.
Yeah, or what comes
and that's
up.
one of the biggest things, is we've got a cast of 36 and an entire team of 105. which is probably one of the biggest teams in the West End, barring Lion King. So.
I guess it's one of those things though, when once you go away though, you don't miss something until it's gone.
No, exactly.
That kind of thing. And I guess when we announced that the show was coming to an end, I bet business boomed, didn't it?
It totally did.
You know,
we saw a huge upsurge in tickets. In the last 2 weeks, they'll be probably sold out. But you know, that was bound to happen because you announced it. So, I mean, I think what will happen is they'll take it away. They'll really look at the show. They've done lots of overseas productions that they could look at to mount a smaller version of it, and maybe go into a 1,500 seater theatre. So because you've got to account for weekend business in the UK for the Indigenous audience, because you know they want to come and see theatre at the weekend. And Queen is We Will Rock You is such an accessible show, particularly for guys, because a lot of blokes don't want to go and sit and watch, you know, la-di-da musical theatre, as they call it. You know?
I got brought up on musical theatre, and I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. I kind of I got dragged along, and I probably wanted to be somewhere else. But then the older I got, and I was hearing this music in my sister's room, I knew all the words, and I'd go back and see Les Mis and Miss Saigon's back, and I know these musicals. And now, well, not working here, but I see what goes into these things, and they are so impressive.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know,
so you know, that's what's.
You're gonna miss this place?
Oh gosh, yeah. It's been my life for 12 years. You know, I know the building inside out. So, of course it will. I won't miss commuting because I live in Brighton. So, 3 hours a day I spend on a train, which is, you know.
I have actually seen you when I came in once from South London, seeing you with your headphones on. You were kind of asleep just coming into Victoria or something.
Totally, yeah. 15 hours a week.
God damn. So what we do? Work in your wife's cake shop? Or do you have your back cooking?
I already do that. That's Catwalk Cakes in Brighton.
There you go.
There's a plug for you. I do that occasionally on Sundays if she's short-staffed. So, probably go and do some work in there for a while.
Well, you should have a Queen range now, haven't you?
Surely,
absolutely. To keep the brand going.
We've done that. No, Janice made an amazing 10th anniversary cake for the show, which is cool. And she's doing one for Brian's daughter this week, actually.
There you go. So we end on a positive note. So cake.
Nice.
There's nothing wrong with cake.
And an advert for my other business.
Exactly. Nice one. Thank you, Peter.
An absolute pleasure.
Romantic. Can we do it again? Can we do it again sometime? I'd like that too. Seaside rendezvous. Give us a kiss.